Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Okay, so we got Ripple's CTO, David Schwartz, claims malicious validators could be a short-term speed bump to the XRP ledger, but ultimately nothing too serious to worry about. So he was also on the J. Kim podcast, and he talked about creating the XRP ledger and how it stemmed from Jed McCaleb's idea to see if a public blockchain could exist without a proof-of-work consensus algorithm. So he said the XRP ledger was the first blockchain that used something other than proof-of-work. They had called the idea Distributed Agreement Protocol, or a DApp, which is cheaper and faster than proof-of-work. Over the next year, Schwartz and Arthur Brito wrote the software for the XRP ledger, including features like the decentralized exchange and key rotation to take advantage of the characteristics of DApp. So Schwartz also spoke of how validators don't really control the network, but are really just agreeing to advance the ledger. And guys, when anybody comes to you and says, well, XRP is centralized because of X, Y, and Z, you can tell them that even if you have a validator and you plan to be a malicious participant in the XRP ecosystem, you are not even likely to be able to have a major impact other than potentially stall the network. And this is what David Schwartz is saying here. The CTO also spoke about Ripple's plans to eventually run just one validator, adding that even if bad actors that run validators decide to disrupt the network, it would only be a short-term speed bump. The things that I worry about the most is a defect in the software, he says, that nobody's found yet, because who knows what damage that could cause in the short term. And so this is the thing that David Schwartz is most worried about, something that is unknown, the X factor, or rather a potential X factor that could cause chaos because nobody has found it yet. I feel like he's fairly confident with how the architects of XRP have ultimately set up the ledger. No qualms there. He feels pretty confident about that. Additionally, he does explain how testnets can be useful for testing bugs in the code and how people don't use it the way they would use a real network, which makes development slow. So again, guys, development can't happen overnight, right? This takes a long time, and it's a procedure. These guys have to check the ins and the outs of the system and make sure everything is working smoothly, because once it's released, that's it. It's released, ready to go, and any bugs that are discovered from there on forward, I suppose, have to be dealt with at that moment. I saw this from XRP_Canada on Twitter, and this with regards, again, guys, to CoinFairValue. Now, I know I did a video about this a couple days ago with regards to this website, and it looks as if the price of XRP just keeps rising. The true fair value of what they're suggesting XRP should be keeps rising. When we first discovered the site, it was at 72 cents. It went up to something like 87 cents. I did a video on that. And yesterday it was at $1.07. Now it's at $1.199, so almost $1.20. But ultimately what they were saying is they were updating the algorithm once a day, and now they are going to start to enable an hourly algorithm. So we are about to roll out an upgrade to enable hourly instead of daily updates of the fair value of XRP. Stay tuned. So very, very interesting to see that. I don't know if they've rolled it out yet. I feel like if I refresh, what was it, 19.9? No, it's still at 19.9. Or rather 119.9. And they have a bunch of coins here, guys. I will link the article, or rather the website, in the description if you didn't manage to catch this on the first go. This from the XRP Arcade. So the HDFC, one of the largest private banks in India, is now a Ripple customer. So HDFC is an Indian banking and financial services company headquartered in Mumbai. It has a base of 111,208 permanent employees as of September 30th, 2019, providing a wide range of financial products and services. And they had signed on with Ripple, as mentioned here on November 25th. Marcus Treacher revealed them as a new Ripple customer. So a big bank there in India, guys. We know Ripple in India, thick as thieves. They seem to be partnering up with every single financial institution in India. Okay, well, maybe not every single one, but it seems as though the list keeps growing and growing. Matthew Liny on Twitter posted this as well. The next generation of digital currencies in search of stability, guys. And this, with regards to this report here, they talk about the history of how the US dollar became the world reserve currency, and then in 1971, how US President Richard Nixon declared a temporary suspension of the dollar's convertibility into gold. So there was that transformative stage in world economies where the dollar was no longer linked to gold. And a lot of people believe that that was kind of the beginning of the end, right? This is when we started to see mass money printing, and countries around the world were having difficulties because if they were trading their currency against the US dollar, it formed a lot of discrepancies. Rates would go up, fluctuation would increase with these fiat currencies. And so what this document is essentially stating is how central banks around the world, well, this is a European document, but essentially how central banks in Europe, and it is moving around the world, are starting to really create that necessity for blockchain and cryptocurrencies so that this kind of problem can be mitigated. If you can move money from country to country at the speed of essentially lightning, let's call it 3 to 4 seconds, then this would have a huge impact on economies. This would have a huge impact on how we do business, how we transact. We aren't as exposed to the volatility. And so some of these takeaway points, they talk about Sweden and how they've essentially gone cashless. The entire nation has gone cashless. That's point 1 there. Point 2, the emergence of distributed ledger technology or blockchain, and how new technologies based on the idea of quote unquote Bitcoin that was launched in 2009 are really going to change the system. Number 3, they talk about the idea of stable coins and how some central banks are basically creating their own stable coins to peg to fiat. And I think that this is in an attempt to thwart money laundering, right? When you have physical cash, it is a lot easier to be shady rather than if all your transactions are being tracked on a public blockchain. And number 4, guys, as a result of these rapid and potential significant developments, central banks are now contemplating the idea of creating central bank digital currencies. All right, that was from up here. So here they talk about stable coins. Here they talk about digital bank central currencies. And these could replace banknotes and potentially make central bank digital reserves available to all economic agents and not only banks. But guys, all this is part and parcel to where the world is going and how the company Ripple is already at the front door of all these banks knocking on the doors. Well, it used to be that they were knocking on the doors. Now it's the other way around. The roles are reversed. These banks are coming to Ripple and realizing, again, since the whole Libra debacle this past summer, they're realizing we have to move on this. What better way to do it than with Ripple technology? And guys, if you're still feeling down that the market's in the dumps, you just got to look at the bigger picture here. So, okay, we have Bitcoin sliding, what the crypto markets are saying about the future of Bitcoin. And some people are suggesting, it's still in its infancy. Some people are like, no, you know what? The market will eventually peter out. We're not going to see these exponential gains forever. One guy is saying here, and I'm just summarizing this, I don't want to get into the whole thing. One guy is saying here that, we are going to still see volatility until the market cap reaches, what did he say? I think, 10 to 100 trillion is fair game. And this from Willy Woo on Twitter, the crypto on-chain analyst and trader. So there is still some movement to be said. Now, with regards to Bitcoin, let's take a look at Bitcoin for a second, guys. This is Bitcoin on the monthly, and I just want to give you guys an idea of the broader trend that a lot of people are anticipating could happen. Now, the monthly, let me make this a little more squat so that I can draw what I want to draw here. So this is 2012. Okay, we saw the height in 2017. We're down in the winter and now we're somewhere around here. Okay, and Bitcoin halving is going to keep occurring. It's programmed into the blockchain. It's programmed into the system. So you guys have all heard of the halvening. Once we see the halvening, the reward gets more difficult and more difficult. So, where in the past we have seen this kind of a movement, eventually what people are suggesting, okay, and I just want to do this justice here, is that we are going to eventually see this kind of a curvature, okay, eventually just kind of peter out and just go horizontal at some point in time. And so this is what Willy Woo is talking about here, right? We need to see the market cap get into this 10 to 100 trillion mark before we see this. So this is not accurate, okay? We're not going to see a $10 trillion market cap at this. Well, maybe we will actually. But what I'm saying is my curvature is not accurate just because I'm just drawing it freehand here. I mean, it could look like this for all I know. I don't know. But what they're saying is once it gets to that, 10 to 100 trillion market cap, what we're going to see is we're going to see Bitcoin settle down, whether that's in the $1 million price range or what have you. But ultimately, we are still on that exponential rate increase for Bitcoin. We're somewhere along here in the trajectory before it peters out. I think Bitcoin will probably likely hit 1 million before that realistically occurs. Maybe in 6, 7, 8 years, guys. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. But it just goes to show you where we're at right now and how lucky we are to be holding cryptocurrency so early on. Also from CoinDesk, guys, I just want to, this is a good little exercise, okay? When in doubt, just read the headlines. You don't even have to read entire articles. I learned this when taking my stock trading class several years back now. And whenever you want to gauge market sentiment, one of the tools, and it's a very easy one, is just read the market headlines. Are they overwhelmingly negative or overwhelmingly positive? And I know the crypto market's a little different because it can be crazy sometimes, and market doesn't necessarily move towards news. But when you're reading things like this in the news, it's got to make you wonder. Okay, let's go down to the recent news section here on CoinDesk. Coinbase patents an automated KYC enforcement tool. Now, does that headline alone tell you that cryptocurrency is going anywhere anytime soon? To me, it tells me that cryptocurrency regulations are coming sooner rather than later, and Coinbase is getting ready so that they are KYC compliant. The ECB official says digital currencies could be an alternative to cash. Okay, so here we have the ECB, the European Central Bank, and how they're already talking about cryptocurrencies as being an alternative. We read that earlier. India plans to issue national blockchain framework. Okay, so an entire country looking to regulate blockchain and make it make sense for within their country. Let's go down here. HSBC to track $20 billion in assets on the blockchain next year. Okay, so a major bank, HSBC, looking to track assets on the blockchain. Swiss government moves to remove legal barriers for blockchain development. So guys, these are all headlines that are pointing to the fact that cryptocurrency, whether you like it or not, is going to be a thing. It is going to be massive. It is going to be huge. I'm sorry if I'm starting to sound a lot like the modern investor, but when we're in these down times for the market, when you're looking at the market and you're seeing, negativity, this is not a good example, but let's go to the hourly, and you hear nothing but negative news. You hear nothing but, everything's going down. Why is XRP at its lowest that it's ever been in 2019? People are getting down and out. People are getting really bummed out about their investments. And you're just going to have to look at what's realistically happening in the space. The price is not reflecting what's really going on, guys. And so just read the headlines. Just take in what is happening and don't think too much about it. Use your gut on this. A big company, Coinbase, looking to patent KYC. Then you've got the European Central Bank news, using digital currencies and how they could be an alternative. Then you have the India news, okay? Over 2 billion people in that country, and they're looking to create a framework to integrate blockchain into the existing financial system. You got HSBC, one of the biggest banks in the world. The Swiss government moves to remove legal barriers for blockchain. Like, guys, I can't spell this out more clearly for you. Cryptocurrency is going to be huge, and right now the price is not reflecting it, but the good news is now's the time to buy. Are you sick of cryptocurrencies and just want that money so that you can pay your rent next month? Or do you think, like me, that they're trying to get us to relinquish our stash so that they can get richer and we hang our heads in shame? Don't let it happen to you, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.